Imagine discovering that the place you live in is slowly poisoning you. Not metaphorically. Literally. That's what happened to me and my partner. What followed was one of the most stressful periods of our lives, and somehow, the people who were supposed to support us became part of the nightmare. My partner and I were renting what looked like a normal home. At first, nothing seemed unusual. Then she started getting sick. Really sick. She developed severe asthma despite never having asthma before in her life. She began having trouble breathing. There were multiple ambulance calls. There were multiple hospital visits. At one point she passed out. Then it happened again. And again. Watching someone you love collapse in front of you is terrifying. Every time it happened, I felt helpless. As if that wasn't enough, I started having breathing problems too. I ended up in hospital myself dealing with hypoxia. Neither of us understood what was happening. Eventually we discovered the cause. Black mold. Not a little patch in the bathroom. Not something you wipe away with bleach. Hidden black mold throughout the property. Inside the walls. Inside the ceilings. Places we couldn't even see. The rental was making us sick. Once we knew what we were dealing with, things became even more chaotic. I was working full-time. At the same time I was caring for my partner. I was dealing with inspectors, lawyers, tribunal hearings, property managers, the landlord, medical appointments, endless paperwork. And the worst part? People kept trying to deny the problem existed. The landlord hired inspectors who claimed there was no issue. According to them, everything was fine. Meanwhile, my partner was collapsing. So I hired my own inspectors. Their findings were completely different. They found black mold hidden throughout the property. Exactly what we'd suspected all along. Months passed. My partner and I finally got out of the mold-filled property. Slowly we started recovering. The constant coughing eased. The breathing improved. Life began feeling normal again. At least physically. Mentally? That's another story. Even now, sometimes it doesn't feel real. It's like my brain still hasn't caught up. Some nights I struggle to sleep. Some nights I replay everything that happened. The hospitals. The inspections. The arguments. The fear. The betrayal. The whole thing feels like a bizarre nightmare that somehow actually happened. Now that life has settled down, my family wants me to reconcile. My mother keeps pushing it. My grandmother keeps pushing it. They tell me family is important. They tell me life is too short. They tell me I should be the bigger person. Sometimes the pressure is subtle. Sometimes it's not. If you love us, you'll do it. You're missing your niece growing up. His family doesn't like you. The message is always the same. Make peace. Move on. Fix it. The problem is that nobody seems interested in acknowledging what actually happened. Nobody wants to talk about how I was treated. Nobody wants to talk about being called crazy. Nobody wants to talk about being abandoned during a medical crisis. Instead, they act like the real issue is my refusal to forgive. When I told my mother I wasn't the one who caused the situation, she cried. She said I'd changed. But I don't think I've changed. I think I just stopped accepting things I used to tolerate. For most of my life, I was the youngest. The one people didn't take seriously. The one expected to keep the peace. The one expected to swallow their feelings and move on. This was the first time I truly said no. And the reaction has been eye-opening. I love my niece. I genuinely do. But loving my niece doesn't mean I have to pretend her parents didn't hurt me. It doesn't mean I have to ignore everything that happened. And it definitely doesn't mean I have to sacrifice my own peace just to make everyone else comfortable. So now I'm left wondering, am I holding a reasonable boundary? Or am I letting resentment control me? After everything my partner and I went through. After being called crazy. After being dismissed. After being abandoned. Am I wrong for refusing to reconcile? The fight dragged on for months. Every day felt like survival mode. Wake up. Fight. Argue. Gather evidence. Protect my partner. Sleep. Repeat. Except most nights there wasn't much sleeping. Eventually we took the case to tribunal. And we won. We were awarded compensation. The ruling validated everything we'd been saying. The mold was real. The danger was real. The suffering was real. You'd think after all of that, my family would finally understand. Instead, that's where the next problem began. My sister and her husband decided that I was the problem. Not the mold. Not the landlord. Not the people covering it up. Me. According to them, I had apparently lost my mind. They claimed I was overreacting. They said I was making my partner paranoid. When I tried to explain what was happening, they dismissed everything. Medical reports didn't matter. Photos didn't matter. Inspection reports didn't matter. The fact that ambulances had been called didn't matter. None of it mattered. In their minds, I was exaggerating. At one point my sister removed me from the family group chat. Instead of asking how we were doing. Instead of checking if we needed help. Instead of offering support. She shut me out. The more evidence I showed, the more they acted like I was crazy. And honestly, that hurt almost as much as everything else. Because when you're fighting for your health, you expect strangers to doubt you. You don't expect your own family to do it. Then there's my brother-in-law. He's always had a habit of saying things that make everyone uncomfortable. The kind of person who says something inappropriate and then expects everyone else to laugh. At their wedding he looked at me and said, "I'm going to make you an uncle tonight." Bro. I remember sitting there, wondering why anyone would think that's an appropriate thing to say. When I brought it up later, my sister immediately defended him. He was joking. He was drunk. Don't take it so seriously. That response pretty much sums up our relationship. Excuses. Dismissal. No accountability. Every single time. As the months dragged on, things got worse between us. Not because I was attacking them. Not because I was asking for anything unreasonable. But because I stopped pretending their behavior was okay. During the absolute worst period of our lives, they never checked on us. Not once. No visits. No phone calls. No messages. Nothing. Just judgment. Rumors. And criticism. Eventually I reached my limit. I blocked both of them. I went no contact. I told them exactly how I felt. And somehow that got twisted into Accusations that I had threatened my brother-in-law. I hadn't. But at that point, I wasn't surprised anymore.